Hi folks, Steve Hunter from ScalePoint here, your go-to for startup advice you can trust from people that have done it before. We've all seen those dreaded security diligence questionnaires with 150 plus questions on them. It doesn't matter if you're a pre-seed startup or a nationwide bank, you're going to get treated the same. So today, we're going to talk about the top clauses that you can push back on and what's the right way to do that so it's going to be received well on the other side. Let's go. When you're starting security diligence, the first and most important thing to do is they have no idea who you are on the security team. They don't know what you do, they don't know how you're using your data or whether you're sending data to them. So one of the best pieces you can do is share, hey guys, just so you know, this is our product, this is how we'll be interacting with you. There's a big difference from the risk level that they need to assess you on if you're just sending them data or you're pulling data from them or you're pulling sensitive data from them. And if you're taking their data, does it only stay in your platform, in the US, in your systems, or are you sending that out somewhere else? Are you selling that data or are you using it for ads? So something like that affects the risk level, and everything else we're going to talk about, that's going to really impact, hey, if we don't have this, well, actually you're a much lower risk, so that's okay. That's how those conversations can go. Second point, this is a very important one. Never lie. Your credibility for this is super important. If they catch you in one of that, it's not going to go well for you. And it's not just going to affect you with this job, this will affect you to other jobs for you. There are ways that we will talk about how we may stretch things a little bit, or we will articulate different versions of things, but never flat out lie, and don't say you're doing things that you're not doing. Third piece here, if you don't have exactly what they're asking for in a security diligence questionnaire, explain what you're doing instead. The baseline for all of these is SOC 2 and all these security diligence pieces, they're not about specific implementations, they're about control. So here's a problem we need to solve. Do you have an implementation for that? Are you following it? There's very few of these where they're actually very specific on it. So let's go through two examples of that. Do you have an IPS/IDS, which is intrusion prevention system and intrusion detection system? So if you're running a SaaS platform in AWS, chances are you probably don't actually have one of these systems rolled out. What you do have instead, you can frame it to say, our approach is we have a defense in depth strategy. We have separate accounts in AWS for each of our environments, so they're fully and logically separated from each other. We have private subnets separated for our microservices and our data tiers. Our data tiers are not routable from the internet. We have a CDN in front of this for managing high traffic volumes and for caching. We've got AWS WAF in front of this, so the web application firewall, for handling a variety of different attacks from this approach. And this is how we're actually preventing and protecting at a security level for this. And you can provide a response like this that says, look, this is our approach. This is what we're doing instead. Very similar for another example that would come up. Hey, do you have field level encryption? There is no actual control in, say, like SOC 2 that says you need to have field level encryption on all of your sensitive data fields. Now, if you're getting into PCI DSS and you've got like credit card data, let's call that as a separate discussion there. Let's assume we're just dealing with standard PII data, right? You might have names, emails, some common things like that, but it's not highly sensitive credit information. For something like this, you can respond in the same way. We have a defense in depth strategy. We have separate environments and accounts for all of these. We have things in private subnets. The databases are sitting in a private subnet. It's not publicly routable. It's encrypted at the disk level. The backups are encrypted and they're taken daily, and they're stored in a separate account that are not directly accessed unless they're required for some specific security or recovery purpose that's in there. All the keys for this are managed in AWS KMS. So they're not directly accessed by the user, and everyone that logs in has individual level access, and they're set by MFA. So what you're actually solving for is, their problem is, hey, we want to make sure no one gets to the data, and if they can, it's hard to do anything with it. But if no one's accessing production on a regular basis, you have all these layers of security in there, the keys are hidden on a different level, your backups are secure as well too. You have a different approach to solving the same problem, and that's what they really care about at the end of the day. One of the most important points, and this one is forgotten a lot, anytime you negotiate on these, do it one-on-one. So if they have a different opinion of this, what you don't want to do is, especially in a group email, go and say, well, actually, I think it should be done this way. You need to put yourself in their security person's view. They have hundreds of these that happen. It's not just vendors like yourself, it'll also be internal. So there's other groups that say, hey, why are you letting them get away with that when you didn't let me get away with that? And there's a lot of nuance to that conversation. It could be risk level, it could be a variety of different things for it. It could just be an overarching view of it. But the point is, you don't want to embarrass or call out or make your security person publicly acknowledge this to a whole bunch of people. If you can chat with them one-on-one, you can understand what's the control you're trying to solve for, what's the thing you're looking at, and we can talk this through, and they can make a decision at that point where they don't have to publicly write this in front of 12 other people that are a part of the company. Which goes to our next point, which is what we just mentioned earlier. If you're ever getting stuck on something, the question you need to ask is, what's the control that you're solving for? This is a very important question to ask. So if we use something like the field level encryption, there is no requirement that says you must have field level encryption in most cases, right? So you can ask, well, what's the control that they're solving for? And they're like, well, actually, I just want to make sure that, this database here, people can't access and just take that data. In which case, this gives you a chance to explore your approach to it. And they will answer this question if you provide it to them. Now, from the other side, I said this is really just about controls and high-level pieces there. There are some things that are standard within the industry. So we're going to rhyme a couple of those off just so you know what to expect, because if they're pushing harder, this is what the standard is. So RPO, RTO, so recovery point, recovery time, that's 48 hours. Disaster recovery, business continuity plan, incident response. These tabletop exercises, they're done once a year. Security working group, you guys are going to meet once a quarter. If anyone's terminated, cutting off their access is done within 24 hours. Background checks, those are done when you start. You typically don't need to do them on a rolling basis from a compliance standpoint and from an industry standard. From security awareness training, you want to do this in the first month, as soon as possible, really, like when people start at your organization, and annually thereafter. Pen tests are done annually, that's your penetration testing, and vulnerability scans, those are done on a monthly basis. If you're typically adhering to those pieces, that's the standards that most people work by, and people should be pretty flexible to work within that. I think you'll find for customers. So, what did we learn today? 3 big takeaways from this. Before you go into this, explain what you do, how you're using their data, or if you're even using your data. That highly influences how big of a risk you are, and that's going to change their point of view on some of the responses that you're going to give there. How much risk assessment weighting they need to give to it. Next piece is, what control are you solving for? This is the best one-on-one negotiating question you can ask. Just ask what they're trying to solve for. What's the control they're protecting? That gives you the opportunity to explain your approach.